I'll clap if you guys want to.
I present to you the Mendocino High School's class of 2025. Please rise for the national anthem. Welcome to the commencement ceremony for the Mendocino High School class of 2025. I am Principal Tobin Hahn, and this evening we celebrate these seniors and their rite of passage to graduates. As we witness this ceremony, we will surely reflect on our parenting, our mentoring, our coaching, our love, our support, our angst, our joy, that went into raising and shaping these amazing humans. We cannot celebrate the class of 2025 without also celebrating those who have supported them in making it to this important threshold in their lives. In particular, I want to acknowledge my amazing staff who provide the outsized effort that allows a small rural school to offer an astounding array of opportunities for our students. Thank you to head teacher Derek Hutchinson and the community school team for a touching ceremony yesterday, honoring 6 amazing graduates who reflected back the love and hard work that you invested in their success. Thank you to Superintendent Morse and the Board of Trustees for your continued support and for affording us the freedoms to pursue our vision of education. We have 4 retirements this year, totaling 107 years of service in the district. In the cafeteria, we have Diane Price, 37 years. Along with Diane, we have Trish Evans, 28 years. Custodian Barb Mueller retired this fall after 26 years. And instructional aide Kathy O'Grady is retiring after 16 years. Although she is not retiring, I would be remiss not to mention our counselor extraordinaire, Liz Newkirk, who is moving on. Thank you to Liz and Kathy, Barb, Trish, Diane. Your dedication to your professions and to our students has been an important part of what makes our district unique and successful. And with this class, you're going out on top. To the class of 2025, when I first met most of you on a brisk, overcast day, I was ankle deep in mud and straw. It was your 4th grade field trip to study California history at the Petaluma Adobe, and I was in charge of the Adobe brick-making station. You guys remember that? Okay. As the groups rotated through and we squished around in the mud, I was impressed with your willingness to participate and engage. Much to your indignation, though, that trip would be the last class trip you would get, right, until this year. We heard about that a lot. Perhaps that saved us parents a few night watch reenactments, but I have to say that if any class could make standing ankle deep in mud fun, it's the class of 2025. When you first arrived at high school, I would walk into a classroom and you would immediately try to get my son in trouble. Be quiet, Theo. Come on, Theo. Speaking up was never an issue for the class of 2025. Your dual enrollment instructors from Mendocino College, they would remark to me how taken they were with your depth of thought and level of engagement, while simultaneously bracing themselves in preparation for class. And a common refrain from our staff is that you set the standard in all that you did. You have strived for excellence, persevered, invested in your futures, and contributed to our community. You are a talented group and a group of talented individuals. There is the woodworker who's a musician, the filmmaker who's a poet, the athlete who's an artist, the cook who's an entrepreneur, and on and on and on. Together, you achieved the highest test scores in math and language arts in all of Mendocino County. You took a cumulative 170 dual enrollment college classes. Nearly 80% of you are career technical education pathway completers. Over half of you earned the Golden State Seal Merit Diploma, and 8 of you, for the first time we have offered it, earned the State Seal of Civic Engagement. One more metric of your hard work, the class of 2025 brought in a record $186,000 in scholarships. We are grateful to our community for investing in the futures of our students. These accolades are impressive, and you have earned them. But as educators, we have even bigger hopes for the class of 2025. You have sat through 4 years of lessons, and perhaps during that time you learned that we study history not because we need to know what happened in the past, but because we need to understand the present. We study math not because we need the quadratic formula to get through our day, but because we can learn to be more effective problem solvers. We study language arts not to analyze themes and symbolisms, but to learn how to receive and communicate ideas. We study science not to gather facts, but to learn how to ask the right questions. We hope that your education at Mendocino High School has given you the tools and the confidence to think independently, to ask the right questions, to reason and problem solve, and to communicate effectively with others. After all, it has been argued that the salvation of mankind depends upon independent thinkers directing their thoughts rightly. I want to focus on thinking for a minute, specifically our brains and our ability to be independent thinkers. Because you see, our brains are under threat. And that threat, people, is AI. No, wait, not AI as in artificial intelligence. In fact, ChatGPT came up comically short writing this speech, and I had to do it myself. No, and not AI as in A1 steak sauce either. The people laughing, they get 100% on the NYT news quiz, all right? They got that one. All right. Just in case there was any confusion out there, right? But AI for amygdala irrationality. Amygdala irrationality. That's a term I am making up to describe the lack of empathy and rational thinking that seems to be a hallmark of today's society. A society that has become more focused on I than on we. One that is increasingly isolating and stubbornly polarizing. There's a game my middle school daughter and I play where I try to think of cultural things from my childhood that have absolutely no relevance in her childhood. So for example, be kind, please rewind. Look, and they're like, huh? How about the time lady? Remember that? Try to explain to someone today, yeah, you used to be able to take a phone and find out what time it is. Duh. Anyone remember the number for that? They're like, huh? Yes. And believe it or not, there was also a time not so long ago when you could have a neighbor with the yard sign for the opposing political candidate right next to yours, and there would be no question that you could still exchange pleasantries in the driveway, share gifts at the holidays, and help out in times of need. No question. Remember those days? Be kind, please rewind. Now, I'm not advocating bringing back VCR tapes, but I am advocating focusing more on discovering our shared humanity. And getting back to this word I made up, I think our brain holds some clues, and this is where amygdala irrationality comes in. The part of our brain associated with analytical and creative thought is, of course, the prefrontal cortex. Okay? Underneath that is the amygdala, which is our more primitive, reflexive brain involved in the fight or flight response. When our primitive brain takes over, it leaves empathy and rational thinking locked out, literally flipping our lids. The more stress, threats, dangers, and trauma that surround us, the more this sympathetic pathway of fear is activated. In the second season of the Star Wars series Andor, the decidedly unrebellious and complacent Perrin Firtha states, quote, Joy has no wind at its back. Joy has no wind at its back. Indeed, fear is a reflex. It needs no encouraging, no thinking to act. Our brains are always receptive to fear. Joy, on the other hand, requires more intentional cultivation. But here's the thing about joy. Over time, joy builds resilience, community, and well-being. It makes us more open, generous, and collaborative. It reinforces behaviors that promote connection, learning, creativity, and exploration. While fear shuts down nuance, joy invites complexity. While fear separates us, joy connects us. Unfortunately, we seem to find it easier to throw barbs than to explore our shared humanity. But however good it might feel in the moment to clap back, it ultimately is an unsustainable strategy. I have great admiration for those who have faced injustices and oppression, yet lead with hope instead of fear and anger. In the Book of Joy, Archbishop Desmond Tutu writes, quote, as we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that ennobles rather than embitters. We have hardship without becoming hard. We have heartbreak without being broken. Joy researcher Mary Catherine McDonald writes in Psychology Today, quote, in times like these, joy is not naive. It's resistance. Choosing to find beauty, to laugh, to savor a good meal, or to notice the kindness of a stranger is not an act of rebellion, is an act of rebellion against despair. It doesn't mean ignoring the pain of the world, it means refusing to let it be the only thing that shapes us, end quote. Just a short reach outside the protective embrace that this community has built around you. There are those who want to use fear to divide and control. They are counting on your primitive brain to not think. But this is not the only way. We need to spend more time getting ankle deep in the mud with others, building community, constructing shared experiences, and developing shared values. These are the foundations of a more functional and friendly society. Now, this is a competitive class, and sometimes that was misinterpreted. For at its core, the class of 2025 is built on communal support. They celebrate each other. They recognize each other for their strengths. They compensate for each other's shortcomings. Time and again, they prove their loyalty is to their shared humanity. They are, perhaps without realizing it, Joy Jedi. My hope for the class of 2025 is that they continue to choose empathy and collaboration over fear and division. Their example is exactly what we need to reclaim our brains and save ourselves from our hardwired irrationality. To the class of 2025, may you forever be the wind at the back of joy. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce ASB President Clayton, did somebody say chickens? Hunter.
Thank you, Tobin. Thanks for everything. We don't talk about the chickens. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, my fellow Americans, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for coming to be a part of this momentous occasion. This class of seniors, with whom I've had the incredible privilege of spending the last 4 years with, houses some of the most amazing people I have ever met in my life. This right here, I made a list. This is the list of what I wouldn't do for these people. For the people in the back, it's blank. I have loved every single second I've spent with this class of seniors, and there's no one I would rather spend the last couple minutes of it with. I don't think I'm close to ready to say goodbye to any of them. But from the very first day to the last, each moment was a journey. Each day an adventure, all leading us to this point, up on the stage of graduation, as one, having worked so hard to get here, together. Now, alongside my classmates, my comrades, my confidants and friends, I'm so incredibly grateful you all have come to join me in the sadness of this occasion as we turn the chapter of this wonderful stage of our life. And yet with this sadness comes optimism for our transition to the next. But first off, I'm going to miss you all so much. I love you guys. And to end my speech, for one final time, I'd like to ask you guys one final question. What do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino? Anyway. Now it would be my pleasure to introduce a certain Marcus Oliveira to the stage to play a piece called Improvisation. Let her rip, buddy.
Thank you. I would like to introduce to the stage class salutatorian Abel Garvin.
Thank you, Marcus. And thank you, Clayton, for making this a little more challenging. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today to celebrate this milestone in all of our lives. Every great story has a moment before everything changes, a pause between events. In a book, it's the end of a chapter, the blank page you turn before something big happens. It's not the end, but a point where it could go in a totally different direction. For the class of 2025, this is that moment, a time to look back at everything you've already read and wonder what the next chapter will hold. Over the past 4 years, the 39 students standing before you have been allowed an incredible amount of different opportunities. I speak for all of us when I say that I'm truly grateful for the unique chances we have been provided with. From Alternative Education Week and cultural exchanges in Japan to AP Calculus and woodworking, our small school and community has supplied us with a diverse spread of classes and opportunities to choose from. While these opportunities are something that every student is offered at Mendocino High School, what sets us apart is our eagerness to take advantage of those freedoms and put ourselves in the right places to succeed. We have passionate future musicians, filmmakers, artists, engineers, chefs, writers, environmental stewards, and maybe even presidents. Anyone? By taking advantage of what we've been offered, we each found interests or even passions that define who we are at this point in our lives. Even if it did not begin in school, each and every one of us has something that we look forward to, something that captivates us. Personally, I find myself absorbed in art, specifically ceramics and pottery. I find it appealing because it is an art form that has so much room for creativity, but also can be extremely functional. The process of creating pottery can be divided into steps or chapters. First, there's centering the clay. Before anything can be created from a soft lump of clay placed on a wheel, it must be grounded, balanced, and stabilized. That was us 4 years ago when we started our high school journeys. Nervous, excited, curious, and overwhelmed. We met new teachers, found new friends, took new classes, and explored all of our new opportunities. We began to create new relationships and connections while building on to those we already had. Slowly but surely, we were able to stabilize ourselves like clay on a wheel, finding our place in our new community. Once we had established ourselves and were centered, we began shaping. We were molded and defined by all the experiences and challenges that came our way. Some were subtle, like taking a new class that shifted our perspective, or getting to know a new teacher. Others were more dramatic, unexpected setbacks, personal struggles, or moments when we felt completely off balance. It's through these experiences that we not only make connections with each other, but discover who we are ourselves. Even when we found ourselves knocked off center, we persevered to mold ourselves and each other into the people that we are today. Along the way, many of us have discovered that who we thought we would be at this point in our lives is not necessarily who we are now, and that is okay. The memories and lessons that we have gained from these 4 years have shaped us into the people that we are and will continue to affect us forever. Now, the process of firing clay can be intense, chaotic, mysterious, and beautiful. The extreme environment is fierce, but necessary to make a piece strong and permanent. In the kiln, anything can happen. You can have amazing success and also unexpected failure. Sometimes glaze drips in a direction that you didn't plan, or cracks emerge where you didn't expect them. But other times, the results are better than anything you could have ever imagined. You can spend days nurturing or worrying about how a kiln will turn out, for it just to fail, or create something unique and priceless. You will never know how something is going to turn out until it is over. The challenges and victories that we experienced, the hard work we put in, and the connections we made are just a few of the factors in the process that makes us strong and defines who we are going to become. We were tested physically in sports games, like when we beat Fort Bragg in the Coast Cup twice. academically on big exams, and emotionally in our personal lives. As this chapter comes to an end and we step into the next, we do so with the individuality and strength that we have absorbed from our experiences here in Mendocino. We didn't get here all at once, but we grew into ourselves and learned from trial and error. There are moments of chaos, shocking outcomes, and surprising turns, but through it all, we became stronger and more grounded, ready for the next challenges. Whatever the next step is, we carry with us everything that has brought us to this point. This chapter may be ending, but the story is far from over. We don't know what the next chapter will hold, but they are ours to create. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce valedictorian Frey Barty.
It's rare that the champion jock is also the salutatorian. We're a very unique class, and thanks, Abel. Valedictorian, the word, comes from Latin valedicere, which to those of you in Spanish might know means something like farewell speech. I have to say farewell, and my farewell begins with a scene, a metaphor to a scene in The Lord of the Rings, because it too features a moment of farewell. That moment takes place on the banks of a great river. It's clear that the 9 members of the Fellowship of the Ring have to say farewell and go their separate ways. So our hero, Frodo, decides that he will take a boat alone and continue his quest. For 4 years, and actually for many of us, 8, 12, even 18 years, we've been together like the Fellowship. Together, we've found our own places in the kitchens of famous restaurants. We've brought grassroots policy efforts into the world. We've adapted to a new school, to a brave new world. We've made music, improv, and cooking shows. We've learned to fight fires, sew clothes, rock climb, and throw more than a few parties. We have played football, basketball, tennis, and volleyball, probably some more sports, all while swimming. We visited Mexico and Japan. We welcomed students from Germany and Miyasa. But most of all, we've explored our own backyards, our coasts and our intersecting interests, from video games to environmental science. We've done all of that together. And now each of us, like Frodo, is casting off alone into a world full of hazard and adventure. Except we aren't. At the last second, Frodo's gardener, Sam, jumps on the boat. He doesn't even know how to swim, but he splashes out to Frodo's boat and joins him for the remainder of his journey. It is, in fact, true that we probably will not all be in the same room together again, like today. But we're gonna stick together, whether it's 4 of us in just one dorm room, or collaborating to measure the sea levels thousands of miles apart. That might happen. Or Miss Duncan's class, surprised to find themselves all back in the Good Life Cafe. Our lives, like all human lives, will intersect, grow apart, and weave together again. Defeating evil in The Lord of the Rings, like any human accomplishment worth anything, is all about collaboration. If you remember the story, there's the Ents, that's probably Sauce. The elves, Eastman, Duncan. I know the dwarves represent Stump. There's Noah and Timey and Tobin and Diana, who I will still argue is the best advisor. There's Megan, who graduated last year, and May, who is graduating with us. They gave us the boons we needed to get where we're going. Megan, with an H, and the Annas fought off the monsters that we couldn't. And everyone, every day, taught us to tell our own stories. Together, we're fluent in Spanish, English, math, photography, ceramics, wood, food, sport, electronics, love, and Elvish. Liz and Tobin, thank you for helping us with the next steps. Noah, thanks for yelling at us when necessary. Rogelio, Travis, Brahm, and Kevin, we just really like you guys. And Marshall Clayton Brown, through the radio, you taught me to be a person. He's back there. He taught me to be a person. If you think about the metaphor of the Lord of the Rings, it's not about the triumphant victory at the end. That's not what you remember. It's the story, the twists and the turns, the line you can draw from the first pages to the last book Tolkien wrote. How the ring was made, how it was born by Bilbo, then Gollum, then Frodo. The ring is the story, and it keeps being passed on. Today, we have it. Our teachers and families have passed the human story to us, the one that began with the birth of the universe. And it's our duty to pick it up from today, to write the next chapter, as Abel said. Whatever you do, I want you to know that you have that great responsibility. We all do. But I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the responsibility that whatever we do will be part of the human story. Because our supporters here today have shaped us into people ready to take on that burden together. So whether we're connected by the World Wide Web or the World Wide Web is humanity, together, the World Wide Web that is humanity, together we will, given the pages before ours, write what we want to happen into the human story. Up next, I want to do a poem, but it's a call and response with my wonderful class back here. So I'm going to say a word, and then they'll say, "We'll be going now." And the word is, hey. Hey. Chasing the same ends to far places, following capricious loves into each other's arms. Hey. Following the light of knowledge into our forests with a notepad. Hey. Following this crazy thing called art to the Bay or LA, and also trying to find housing. Hey. We'll be going tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, as Eastman taught us. I'm so glad he did. So I'm glad that you're here today. I'm glad that we start from here, listening to Wind, the first year in earth science, or hearing Stella's speech on the first day and thinking, this will last forever. Hey. Into a world that feels aflame, but that isn't new. And like those who came before to make it better, hey. Lyrics from a song called One Way to San Diego. Stay your course. There's a light at the end of the tuggle that you're digging. There's a light at the end of the tunnel that you're digging. Stay your course to close one chapter and begin anew. No matter how far you travel, from first breath to dearly departed, never forget where you came from. Always remember where you started. Always remember where you started. Valeo, farewell. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Nathan Casivas. Nathan is going to perform a wonderful song. I've been told it's a sitting down Metallica song, but it is a Metallica song. It's called Nothing Else Matters.
Check, check. Sorry. I'd like to introduce Class President Theo Hahn.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this evening to celebrate the achievements of the class of 2025. I'm Senior Class President Theo Hahn, and I have the honor of introducing tonight's guest speaker. This is a person who's been connected to our class since 7th grade, when we took a field trip to the movie theater to watch Free Solo. Afterwards, she told us about her experience climbing El Capitan. Following a brief hiatus from each other during the COVID lockdown, we were reintroduced freshman year. She was no longer the impressive sub who climbed El Cap, but our science teacher. That year in earth science was chaotic, but exciting and engaging. Some of us would go on to take chemistry and physics, but we've all been shaped by her throughout our time in high school. She has dedicated countless hours to making the time that we spend together even more meaningful and special. She has been our student government advisor, model United Nations advisor, swim and mountain bike coach, and as our class advisor, she's guided us 3 years in a row through Spirit Week, where we should have won every time. I speak for my entire class when I say we are honored to have Mae Martin as our guest speaker.
Thank you, Theo. That was very sweet. Good evening, and thank you for being here for the celebration of the wonder that is the class of 2025. I have had the pleasure and honor of teaching almost all of these students earth science, most of them chemistry, a few physics, and a very select few physics twice. It has been a privilege to watch this group grow individually and collectively, from the rowdy and rambunctious 9th graders into the still arguably rowdy and rambunctious, but slightly more refined 12th graders that you are now. But before I start waxing too poetic about the greatness of this class, I want to make sure that they are as smart as they are cracked up to be. So I have a little pop quiz for you. Just 3 questions. This is how it's going to work. I will ask the question. You can discuss amongst yourselves. When someone thinks they have the answer, raise your hand and I will call on you. No shouting out answers. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Okay. Question number 1. What type of rock is granite? I'm looking for a 2-word answer. All right, raise your hand when you have the answer. You have a 33% chance of getting this right. Just take a crack at it, come on. Bo, please. Oh, you were so close. Liam. Oh my. Okay, earth science is long. Yes. Igneous, thank you. Round of applause for Abel. All right, I know earth science was a long time ago. All right, hopefully this one is a little more fresh in your mind. And I know I hear this sometimes. So how big is a mole? Sure? All right, Abel, go for it. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Yes, round of applause for Abel. 1 avocado, as phrase says. All right, question number 3. This is the last one. What is Newton's 3rd law of motion? Bo. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Round of applause for Bo. All right, well done, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. All right, I've had the pleasure to witness this group take on challenges inside and outside the classroom, from tackling abstract scientific principles to unimaginably creative and well-executed homecoming skits, to the leadership capabilities exhibited in student government, trips to Berkeley for the Model United Nations conferences, rock climbing AE week trips, and literally countless bake sales. It has been a wild ride these past 4 years, and one that I wouldn't trade for anything. I really do feel honored to be here today to get to share a little bit about what makes this class so special. So this is it, graduation, the goal you've been working towards for the last 4 years. 4 years ago, it probably felt like a mirage, a destination that kept moving farther away, just out of reach. But now it's here, and somehow time has folded in on itself and vanished in the blink of an eye. But a lot happened in those years, a lot that I hope you will look back on and learn from as you move into this next chapter of life. Much of this year has been focused on the future, with all of the excitement and anxiety that goes with stepping into the unknown. So I'd like you to take a breath and ground yourself in this moment, in all you've accomplished and who you've become to be here today. Look around at your classmates, the people you've spent a year with, or 4, or 12, or maybe more. The people who have been there through the accomplishments and the disappointments, who have supported you, challenged you, and probably made you laugh at least once or twice. Now I'd like you to look out in the audience, the family and friends who have listened to you, given you advice, driven you to friends' houses or numerous sporting events, probably countless times down 128 or Highway 20, cooked you dinner, read you stories, been there when you needed it. This class is particularly significant for me, as Theo was mentioning. The story of May and the class of 2025 begins not 4 years ago, I would say 7, when you all were in 6th grade at the Mendocino Middle School. From those first encounters as your sub, I knew you were destined for greatness. Okay, maybe I wasn't totally convinced right away, but I had a good feeling about you all. And what I did see was a class that had a sense of humor, was dedicated, not always to school-related topics, and above all, was kind and compassionate. I had a sense that this class would be worth sticking around for, and then it struck me. I needed to be this class's graduation speaker. Sure, there were a couple of roadblocks that stood between me and that goal, but I hatched a plan. Step 1, get a job at the high school. Check. No credential, no problem. Step 2, wheedle my way into being your class advisor. As you remember, I was assigned to a different class, not worse, just different. But where there's a will, there's a way. And finally, and this truly was the crux of the matter, last long enough as a teacher to see you all through your senior year. And that box we can finally check. But this speech isn't about me. Let's get back to what matters, you. Let's recall your 9th grade year, that first step into freedom and responsibility. As you might remember, this was the first year back from distance learning, and we were still wearing masks for that first semester, if you can believe it. And we didn't really have a school. The main campus was being rebuilt, and the classrooms were dispersed. Some classes were in portables. You don't need a gym for PE. While others were exiled to temporary locations on the outskirts of campus. Culinary class on hot plates, wild times. The school motto that year was rebuild community. We even had hard hats printed with the slogan. Between the physical separation of our campus and the emotional separation of coming back from a year apart, we needed to do just that. We needed to ask ourselves the big questions of who are we as a school? Who are we as individuals? What does it mean to be a Mendocino High School student or staff member? We needed a class, what the school needed was a class that was going to lead the way in rebuilding that school community, reinvigorating the culture of rigor, and reimagining what was possible to achieve and accomplish during one's time here. We got lucky because this class had all that and more. From the very beginning, this class raised the bar in every way possible. From academic achievement to musical prowess, as you all have witnessed tonight, outstanding athleticism, and artistic wizardry. I'd like to share a story that stands out to me when I think back on the last 4 years. It was a moment that profoundly impacted the way I felt about teaching, and in particular, this class. It was earth science, and as someone mentioned, those were hectic times. And it wasn't a particularly great lesson, or one of those elusive aha moments that teachers are always after, but something much more simple. Whatever that lesson was about, it necessitated me drawing a circle on the chalkboard. And the circle I drew wasn't any old circle. It was a perfect circle. And you know what happened next? The students gave me a standing ovation. My first ever, and not something you expect going into the teaching profession. But what was so significant about that moment was how it made me realize that we were in this together. Teaching isn't about constructing the perfect lesson from behind the scenes. It's about being present and shaping the experience together. I know that not every one of you was in the room that day, but I've always felt the same spirit from each of you. You're always game for any harebrained idea that I have. Like that time I had you all taste salt water to test the salinity. True story. Or crack purple urchins open to see if there was anything left inside. I've always felt that you trust and respect me and that you're on my side. And that doesn't just apply to me. You show up for and respect each other. You listen to every student, teacher, and staff member at this school, along with anyone else who might be lucky enough to cross your path. It is genuinely inspiring. A word that I hear come up often to describe this class is engaged. This class engages in everything put before them, as well as looking beyond school programs to find opportunities to pursue their own unique interests. And in this class, there are many unique interests. It is an eclectic bunch. They engage fully in academics, especially class discussions and debates. Some of you are probably familiar with how much this class loves to argue. With a particular skill of derailing a class with questions that are almost relevant. And yes, I'll admit that I'm probably the easiest teacher to derail. They engage in elective and career tech programs. The work to come out of the art program, video and music production, woodshop, and culinary program, just to name a few, will inspire many students to come. This class also engages in the community. There hasn't been a class that I know of that has participated more civically. Put on more community events, supported community organizations, or volunteered more than this one. I feel that you all recognize and appreciate what you have, and you want to share that with those around you. I may not have been sure when you all were sixth graders, but I'm convinced now that each of you will go on to do great things. At the minimum, I expect a cure for cancer, a solution to the climate crisis, and some award-winning general audience films. With those accomplishments, who cares that Stump wrote all of your homecoming scripts? What I hope each and every one of you feel right now is that you have already shown that you know how to achieve everything you set your mind to. Yes, things are a little different after high school, but we've seen what you are capable of. To that point, something that gets thrown around at times is how Mendocino High School doesn't prepare you for the real world. True, you'll be hard-pressed to find a spot that rivals the natural beauty, the quaintness, the tight-knit community. And yes, there may be some culture shock if you find yourselves in a place with, say, more than one stoplight. But I think there are some lessons and takeaways that can help you transition away from the safe haven that are the halls of Mendocino High School and from under the caring yet watchful eye of Principal Tobin Hahn. So I have for you a few do's and don'ts to remember as you go forward. Don't bank on getting to reassess on every test. Do approach challenges with a growth mindset. Persevere when things don't go perfectly. You know what they say. It's okay to stumble as long as you stumble forward. Don't leave valuables, backpacks, purses, phones, etc., leaning against stop signs, sitting on top of unlocked cars, or generally strewn around. Do give people the benefit of the doubt and be trusting within reason. Look out for each other and be part of creating spaces where all people can feel safe. Don't confuse a street for a sidewalk. I know they look really similar, but one is for cars and one is for people on foot. Do choose to stand up against injustice, rebel against inequality and discrimination. But choose your battles. The right to walk in the middle of the road might not be worth your fight. Don't expect bridge construction to work every time you're late. Despite that, this is a class that generally is very responsible and shows up. Tell them to be somewhere at a particular time, and they're there. Unless it's 10 a.m. on a Sunday bake sale, then it's just me. Please don't turn in work without your names on it. It's true that many teachers here can match handwriting to student, but don't expect that to be the case anywhere else. Be proud of your work. Own it. And finally, don't expect every community you are a part of to know you and care for you the way that this one does. But do know that this is possible. Invest in relationships and work to create the kind of community you want to be a part of. In closing, I'd like to highlight a few things. Individually and collectively, you have left a mark on this school that won't fade quickly. Not only the work you've done, but who you are. You came into a school 4 years ago that was in somewhat of an identity crisis, and you've firmly reestablished what it means to be an exemplary student at Mendocino High School. Mendocino might not have prepared you for everything. There will be some shocks when you realize that there are ponds much more expansive and fish much larger. There will be failures. There should be failures. That's how you know you're pushing your limits and growing as a person. This is all starting to remind me of something, some wise words I once heard. Hold on, it'll come to me. Got it. Just be epic. But honestly, it's all there. You are entering the world at a tumultuous time, socially, politically, environmentally. But luckily, you all already have what the world needs most: compassion, determination, the ability to think critically, and respect those whose opinions differ from your own. I have full faith that you all have the tools to navigate whatever comes your way with grace and humility. The journey is only beginning, and I feel grateful to have shared a part of it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, May, and thank you for seeing us through that transitional period of the last 6 years. You will be missed.
Principal Hahn, do you affirm that the students seated before us have satisfactorily completed the requirements prescribed by the State of California and Mendocino Unified School District for secondary school course of study?
Yes.
As president of the governing board of Mendocino Unified School District, I authorize the awarding of a diploma of graduation to these students.
Jackson Shane Sheriff.
Is yours on?
Jackson would like to thank his parents.
Here, mine's on.
Sorry about that, technical difficulties. Jackson would like to thank his parents for getting him through school and always being there to support him. He'd also like to thank all his teachers for passing on their knowledge to him and his peers. His plan for the future is to work and save up money so he can put himself through trade school and learn to work in the automotive industry.
Ford Robert Shandel.
Ford thanks his mom, dad, and brother Tay for always supporting him, and his friends and family for never giving up on him. He plans on going to Northern Industrial Training in Palmer, Alaska to become certified in diesel mechanics and welding.
Sophia Kennedy Lemos.
Sophia is extremely grateful for all the positive influences in her life. Her parents that pushed her to strive, her friends that stayed by her side and always made her laugh, and her teachers for being so supportive. Special thank you to Stump for being the best mentor. Hashtag Stump Advisory. Sophia plans to attend Sonoma State University and study psychology and hopes to become a psychiatrist in the future.
Zephyr Kovchuk.
Zephyr would like to thank his dad for giving him a reason to live until he was able to find one of his own. The family who's been there for him and had his back, the teachers at Mendo High who let him go at his own pace, and the friends, past and present, who have helped to show Zephyr what it means to be a good person, letting him grow into who he is today and helping him graduate at 16. After high school, Zephyr will be attending the Santa Rosa Barber College for barbering and cosmetology, as well as culinary school at the junior college.
Kyle Now Nedavong Villa Gomez.
Kyle is grateful for his parents who built their lives from the ground up in order to support him and his family. Kyle also thanks his sister and Mr. Stump for inspiring him to choose UC Davis. Hashtag Stump Advisory. After college, Kyle hopes to build his own corporation.
Ruby Rose Dauenhauer.
Ruby wants to thank Monkey, her family, her friends, and her teachers. She'll be going to culinary school in the south of France.
JC Rose Jones.
JC would like to thank her parents, coaches, teachers, teammates, friends, family, classmates, weird circus coworkers, and everyone else who pushed her to work as hard as she did to graduate. In her future, she plans to take a gap year to figure out what she wants in life. JC may pursue an education degree in Sonoma State, or study animal behavior at a UC, or maybe even travel to a different country to attend a circus school. Anything goes as long as it's interesting.
Arabella Damore.
Ari will be going to Oregon State University, where she studies will allow her to eventually work in sustainable economic development. Ari would like to thank everyone who drove her to and from school, especially Moth de Oliveira. She thanks her family, both blood and love, for sharing with her their amazing ability to persevere. Mitekuye Oyu Sin, we are all related.
Lorena B. Lowry.
Lorena wants to thank her family, friends, all of her teachers, and a special thanks to her mom, Anna Levy and Gavin Bright. In the fall, Lorena plans to attend Cal Poly Humboldt, majoring in psychology.
Canute Foxy Kavinsland.
Canute would like to thank all of his family and friends for giving him a laugh and sticking through it with him. He'd also like to give a special thank you to Marshall Brown for all of his generous support. Canute is planning on attending the University of Southern California in the fall, in which he will study international relations and global business. Fight on.
Bella Alice Breckus.
Bella gives a big thank you to her mom and Cedar. She will be studying biomedical engineering at the South Dakota School of Mines.
Natasha Kate Nolita Gallo.
Natasha would like to thank her family and best friend for always being there for her and supporting her emotionally and academically throughout high school. She is graduating with a year's worth of college credits, so she plans to attend Santa Barbara City College next year to finish her AA before transferring to a four-year.
Nathan Casivas.
Nathan would like to thank his family for their support and his friends for making school a place he could appreciate coming to. He will work with his dad in supermarket refrigeration with Climate Pros.
Xavier James Durbin.
Thank you to his friends, family, girlfriend, and Noah Gold for making a lot of great memories with him through his senior year. Xavier plans on going to work right out of school with his dad's landscaping company.
Alexis Leanne Lenhart.
Lexi wants to thank her mom and dad for making her the person she is today. She also wants to thank her sisters for being her best friends for life. Additionally, a big thank you to the Martin and Starkweather families for their support. Last but certainly not least, Lexi would like to thank her boyfriend, Xander, for always being there and supporting her. She loves all of them so much. Lexi plans to take a year off and work before going to Cypress College and majoring in flight attendant studies.
Pablo Benjamin Salman.
Pablo would like to thank all of his teachers throughout his life, Tobin, Liz, Noah, and Marcy, his parents, Daniel and Heidi, his girlfriend, and the rest of his family for helping him along the way. In the fall, Pablo will be attending St. Mary's College of California, majoring in kinesiology.
Callie May Husek.
Callie would like to thank her mom and dad for having her and their support, Sauce and Eastman for their encouragement, and Pun, Keone, Ari, and Malia for being the homies. In the fall, Callie will attend Cal Poly Humboldt to study history and education, and then become a history teacher in Minnesota.
Keone Madrone Holmes.
Keone would like to thank his parents, Francis Rutherford and Anton Sosnovic. His future plans are dreaming of becoming a professor of linguistics.
Naya Josephina Bliss Bolton.
Naya would like to thank her mom, dad, sister Shasta, and best friend Sage for always supporting her through life. She will be continuing her education at South Lake Tahoe Community College.
Kingston Placido.
Kingston wants to thank his parents, friends, and coworkers for the constant support. Special thanks to his grandmother for being there since day one. He plans to go to Cal Poly Humboldt and study archaeology and hopes to travel the world and discover remnants of the past.
Liam John McKevitt.
Liam would like to thank all the amazing teachers of Mendocino High School for putting up with his shenanigans for the past 4 years. He will be bringing a new creativity to the world and plans on pursuing a career in art.
Sage Ella Starkweather.
Sage is thankful for her family, friends, and all the others who supported her. She'd also like to thank her best friend, Naya. Sage will be continuing her education at UC Santa Cruz. Go Banana Slugs!
Carlos Alakazander Gilbert.
Carlos would like to thank his parents for their dedication to his livelihood, his sibling for being a stellar role model, his friends for all the wonderful times to remember, and finally, the teachers and staff of Mendocino High School for giving him the best education and environment to learn he could ever ask for. He will be heading down to Santa Rosa, working towards attaining his associate's degree in culinary arts and pursuing a career in kitchens throughout the United States.
Panalai Inkun.
Pun would like to thank their dad for being there when they needed him, Sauce for putting up with them at every tutoring session, Stump for always helping out with their horrible grammar, May for being the coolest, Eastman for being Eastman, Liz for all that she has helped them through, Rain and Duncan for listening to their woes, and Anna for being their biggest supporter. They will carry what you have taught them for the rest of their life. Pun plans on studying at UC Berkeley in the fall, intending to major in mathematics and hopes to make new friends and memories.
Clayton William Hunter.
Clayton gives his most sincere thank yous to his parents for always being there for him and pushing him to give his all through school, Liz for being a voice of reason, especially this year, along with every other person in the office and all of his amazing teachers for teaching and helping with everything. Lastly, Clayton thanks his friends for making every year the best years of high school he could have had. He plans to major in philosophy to pursue law at UC Santa Barbara.
Emma Grace Kennedy.
Emma is thankful to her parents for their unconditional support and love, her friends for making every day special, and especially Noah, Diana, Marcy, and Anna Levy for making school feel like a second home and always being there for her. She will forever cherish you all. In the fall, Emma will be attending University of Oregon, majoring in human physiology.
Aiden Angel Cruz Alcantar.
Aiden is grateful for all the people who helped him along the way and supported him. He'd like to give a big thanks to his parents, close friends, and would finally like to thank everyone in the senior class for making his school experience that much better. Stump advisory for the win. Aiden will be attending a community college before transferring over to a four-year.
Abel Morgan Garvin.
Abel would like to thank all of the teachers and staff that have encouraged and influenced him over the years, his family for always being there to support him, and his friends for making every moment fun and memorable. Abel is attending UC Santa Cruz in the fall.
Frey Sanderson Barty.
Frey thanks Marshall Brown and James Eastman for helping him find himself, Timey Barty for doing that and everything else. He will be attending Stanford University in the fall with that requisite teenage emotional combination, fear and hope.
Enzo Scott Peterson.
Enzo would like to start by thanking his parents for being his biggest supporters. Thank you, Dad, for teaching him how to change the oil on his car and attempting to teach him how to surf. Thank you, Mom, for your nourishment and love. You are his hero. Thank you to his friends for making high school fun, and a special shout out to Marshall for being an amazing teacher and an inspiration. Enzo will be attending Santa Barbara City College in the fall.
Emerson Olivia Harris.
Emerson would like to thank her family and friends for all their support, especially her little sisters, Hannah and Lucy, her best friend, Kate, and most importantly, her mom and dad. She also wants to thank her teachers and all of the MHS staff for making the last 4 years so special. Next year, Emerson will attend UC Davis to major in English.
Theodore Elliott Hahn.
Theo would like to thank all of his friends, family, coaches, and teachers for all the help and encouragement throughout high school. He plans on attending Cuesta Community College for a year before transferring to Cal Poly.
Taylor Jade Hockett.
Taylor thanks her parents, friends, family, the MHS faculty, and the person who has been her greatest headache, but also her lifelong best friend and biggest supporter, her sister Hannah. Taylor loves you guys and thanks you all for supporting her. Taylor will be attending UC Davis in the fall to major in environmental science and management. Go Aggies.
Kalia Winter Hawkins.
Kalia wants to thank her friends for making this year so much fun and her family for everything they've done for her. In the fall, Kalia will be attending San Diego State University, majoring in humanities with a plan to switch to business.
Bo Asher Breton.
Bo is thankful for Pam Duncan, all of his family and friends that have helped him along the way. Bo plans to go to college and figure it all out.
Catherine Frances Wilson.
She would like to thank her mom, dad, and her brother for their endless support and love. She's also grateful for her volleyball team and her best friends for years of laughs and van rides. And lastly, she's thankful to the staff and teachers who always went the extra mile to guide her along the way. Kate is headed to UC Berkeley to study environmental science.
Marcus Kane Oliveira.
Marcus would like to thank his friends and family for getting him through school. He plans to take a gap year, play club soccer, and explore his options for his future.
Richard McWhorter.
Richard would like to thank his friends and family for being there for him when he needed it most. He plans to go to college and hopes for a good job.
Phoenix Abel Ohm.
Phoenix thanks Carolyn, Rain, Sauce, and his family. He will be attending Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, majoring in business with a minor in 3D design.
I present to you the graduates of the Mendocino High School class of 2025.